To love someone is nothing. To be loved by someone is something. To love someone who loves you is everything. Bill Russell said that, and I'm saying this. Welcome to High and Low. Good day and good night. Welcome to the High and Low Basketball Podcast. This is episode number 100 and Vince. Woo! Number 100 and half man, half amazing, aka episode number 115. 15 is a number that was won by the guy that many say put the city of Toronto on the basketball map, the Drake of the NBA, if you will. Actually, scratch that. Drake is the Drake of the NBA. Regardless, I'm talking about Vince Carter, legendary Toronto Raptor, New Jersey Net, Memphis Grizzly, Atlanta Hawk, Orlando Magician.
What did you say?
Many younger fans of the NBA product would see Vince Carter as an older statesman, a veteran journeyman, as you can tell by the number of teams that is named, and he played for more than that. But back in the day, Vince Carter was one of the most gifted, most electrifying players the league had ever seen. Some say that Vince Carter's legendary appearance in the 2000 dunk contest signaled his arrival. Next to Michael Jordan versus Dominique Wilkins in 1988, probably the greatest performance in the dunk contest. You know, Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon stands are losing their minds right now, but hey, facts are facts. Anyway, my name is Ike Amaechi, and today there's no starting lineup, man. I had to escape the city with the family this week, which threw off our recording schedule. So I'm on a short, rickety wooden pier on a quiet lake right now with a mic and a laptop, a million miles away from anything. Everyone needs to get away sometimes, so I had to do it. I had to do it for the family. So the guys get the week off, but High and Low does not. The streak continues. So as usual, we all live by the strict code governed by the high and low lives of the world, which means we talk about basketball, especially and specifically the NBA, and we talk about it at any time, anywhere, north, south, east, west, high and low. This week, on this truncated episode of High and Low, I'm going to take you back to last week when we talked about players who only play for the money. Yeah, players who only play for that check. So on the previous episode, you heard us talk in general terms, but you didn't hear us name names. If you're wondering why Mitch was a little tight during the outro of episode 114, you'll find out why when you hear this bonus segment where the guys talk about the specific players they believe play for checks, not wins. In addition to that, there are some questions from you, the listeners, but it wouldn't be fair to hoard all the fun, so I'll just answer one, just one. Stay tuned for that. Hey, I'm Dolo, so I'm locked in this week, so let's just get right into it. Thank you for joining us for yet another installment of the program, another week, another episode, more NBA, some more High and Low. This week in NBA history, the Ben Wallace era in Detroit began. On August 3rd, 2000, Grant Hill became a member of the Orlando Magic, an Orlando Magician. That sounds way better, honestly. They should make it official. He was acquired by the Detroit Pistons via sign and trade for Chucky Atkins and Ben Wallace. At the time, this deal was all about Grant Hill, who was a 5-time All-Star and a player who was pegged to be one of the NBA's best. And there was legitimate excitement with Hill joining Tracy McGrady amid rumors of Tim Duncan going to Orlando, which would have created a formidable trio opposite Kobe and Shaq's Lake Show in the West. Apparently, Duncan was ready to leave San Antonio and sign in Orlando, but it all fell apart when Orlando's head coach, Doc Rivers, denied Timmy's request to have his family fly on a team plane. Yes.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
This is not about Orlando and Doc Rivers' greatest regrets. It's about Ben Wallace, who turned out to be the biggest get in this sign and trade that turned Grant Hill into a magician and landed Ben Wallace in Detroit. Initially considered an afterthought, Ben Wallace became a cornerstone of a championship Pistons squad, 4-time All-Star, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. So from August 3rd, 2000, Ben ascended, and it was all downhill from there for Grant. Yes, I said it. Anyway, that's a little something for the NBA history nerds. Things are certainly happening in the NBA today, so let's talk about it.
Let's talk about something important.
I have a listener question that has nothing to do with last week. This question is from Mason in Windsor, Ontario. So shout out to Windsor, right next to Detroit. Speaking of Detroit. Hey, go Lancers.
Whoa. What did you just say to me?
So the question is this. I recently listened to the first episode of High and Low, and Ike talked about recording from his rooftop. Was he actually on his roof, and would you guys consider recording outside together? Great question, Mason. Yes, I think we would consider that. Once we can all get together in the same spot, we would definitely do that. Short answer, though, to the first part of your question is yes, I was. I was definitely, literally on my roof. I wasn't literally sitting on shingles, so there was no immediate danger. And I use the word immediate because it was on a Thursday evening, back in May 2020. And I remember a ridiculous amount of mosquitoes hovering around. And there were some aggressive birds looking for cover, a few neighbors with their ears pressed to the fence, but no danger though. Not gonna lie though, there might be some danger right now. The sun is officially set. And when you're in the middle of the wild, under the sun, the place looks incredible, but it's not the same after dark. I'm outside by myself, surrounded by the types of noises you would hear in parts unknown. And I don't know, man. I just fell down a skinwalker's rabbit hole on TikTok. I do not recommend if you're planning to go camping or stay at some remote location. Anyway, the family's safe and comfortable inside, so we're all good. Thank you for the question, Mason. Much appreciated. I just want to move on to some other news. One piece of sad news in the NBA. NBA Hall of Famer, 11-time champ. Yes, 11. 5-time MVP. Boston Celtic legend and sports icon Bill Russell passed away at the age of 88. Russell was the cornerstone of the greatest dynasty in NBA history. Yes, one of the greatest to ever play the game at both ends of the floor. Beyond the numerous incredible achievements on the basketball court, beyond holding the important distinction as the first black coach in NBA history, Bill Russell did as much for the sport and society writ large off the court. He was a star in the NBA during the Jim Crow era, during a time when American laws existed to marginalize and oppress African Americans, denying education, employment, and the right to vote. It was at this time that Bill Russell stood taller than his 6'10" frame and fought for the rights of his people. It was at this time that Bill Russell transcended his NBA star and ascended as a civil rights leader. And that is the legacy he leaves behind. Rest easy, Mr. Russell.
This person came up, we were going someplace, and someone said, "You a basketball player?" I said, "No." And John says, "Why do you always say you're not a basketball player?" I said, "John, that's what I do. That's not what I am."
Just another reminder to listeners, if you want to leave a question for us, drop a DM on Instagram at Get High and Low, TikTok and More High and Low. Time to push this segment in the direction of whatever weird noise that was. When we come back, you're going to hear the bonus conversation from last week when Hugo, Mitch, Steven, and I talked about players who most likely put the money over the game. This is a conversation where names were named. That's next after this quick break. This week's episode of the High and Low Basketball Podcast is brought to you by the one championship ring Bill Russell couldn't wear. 11 chips? Goodness gracious, man. Never will be done again, I'm telling you. Now let's get back to the show. And we are back. This is High and Low, and I'm Ike Amaechi, and I'm here with Hugo, Steven, and Mitch. And we've had a theoretical, philosophical conversation about this. We've named names. We have. We couldn't help it. But can you definitively identify a player that most likely falls into this category? Who do you suspect? Who do you suspect plays just for the money?
I'll go last.
I'll go first. I said it before. It's Spencer Dinwiddie. Like I really don't think I think if he wins a chip, it would be nice. But I don't know if he's like pulling really hard to win a chip. I think he's just looking for whoever pays him the most, and whatever moves he makes, I think it's just for him to stay longer in the league so he can get more money.
So you think that he'd sign to he's basically a mercenary,
Yep.
highest bidder?
Yep.
And we're good?
Yep. He plays just good enough to stick around. I mean, would you call him a top 20 point guard in the NBA?
That's not the question, though.
Irrelevant.
No, I just mean though. I mean it from a sense of keeping his spot, keeping his interest, keeping teams interested in him, and looking at him as something valuable.
I think it's the exact opposite. I think that he would be a top 20 point guard if he was solely interested in the money, because he's a very talented guy, very talented player, and he's capable of putting up big numbers on any given night. But he's not doing that right now on Dallas. No,
but I they always talked about that last year before the next contract, right? So
yeah, contract year.
Yeah, I think he just does it enough to make people say, you know what, maybe, he's pretty good. He might not be there, but he shows flashes of it. Maybe we can get him to come in and work with him, and then he can be more consistent. And then,
okay, we'll agree to disagree. Steven, who's your guy?
I have a guy written down, but I'm gonna change it. Jordan Poole is my guy.
Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Jordan Poole party?
Poole party. Yes. I don't know if you guys remember when him and Wiggins, when they won and they were on recording, and he said, "We about to get paid," and there it is. It's part of that 99%. I can't wait till he gets paid too.
God,
he's getting that money, son.
The guy who just won a chip.
Just won a chip on like whatever deal he's on, because he was from the G League, and he's about to get paid.
Okay.
Before that, I had Zach LaVine.
I would ride with that a little bit more than Poole party.
No, Poole. You about to see Poole's. You about to see Poole.
Okay, I think there's only really 3 players that fall into this camp truly. One of them is Damian Lillard. He pretends to want to win in Portland, I think. $60 million a year coming up. We mentioned him already. Bradley Beal is absolutely another player. Stop pretending like you care about winning if you're going to sign to Washington for the next 6 years. Washington might not win a playoff series, never mind a chip. Okay.
No option.
Yeah.
Right?
No option. $252 million and then he's going to sulk when they lose. Like that guy bothers me. And the other guy is Jeremy Grant. I think that's your top 3 right there. That guy's just like, Detroit, $60 million, great. Yeah, I'll be right there. Oh, you're trading me to Portland?
That's not his fault though.
Jeez.
Whoa, yeah, somebody's ripping and roaring. That's not his fault though, man. Like he had that conversation with LeBron, and other people thought there was something there.
What? What are you talking about?
Who?
Grant.
Grant?
Yeah, remember that one in Denver, right? When they were playing Denver and they were having that talk, and they thought LeBron was going to recruit him.
No, Jeremy Grant went where he could be the number 1 option and make as much money as possible. That's all he cared about.
He said he wanted minutes to be the number 1 guy.
Yeah. That's not a winning choice. You don't make a
conversation.
Yeah. You don't make a winning basketball choice and choose Detroit. Okay, that's only money. Nobody chooses Detroit on purpose. Sorry, Detroit.
Exactly. No, respectfully.
No.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jeremy Grant, definitely. I have a question for you guys, though. This is a quick one.
What? More?
Because you've been pushing back, Hugo. You've been pushing back on this one. Okay. And there's a guy that was playing in your backyard for years who clearly was not playing.
Oh, stop.
Was not playing to win. He was playing for the money.
Christopher Bosch?
Clearly.
Vincent Lamar Carter?
Vincent Lamar Carter.
No. Don't listen. We
Vincent
can't put
Lamar Carter.
No.
How did you feel? How did you feel rooting for a team led by a guy that wasn't really interested in winning a chip for your team?
We're talking.
How did you feel?
Listen,
how did you feel?
Listen, I don't want to disparage against a man who passed away, Mr. Babcock. That team was a sham, a roast, a hot piece of garbage, whatever you want to call it.
So it's I don't want to disparage,
took over.
And then started to disparage.
Listen, I give Vince the asterisk on those years.
Asterisk, that's good.
Not me. No, I was going to say something terrible, but I'm going to stop.
There you go. There you go. There's the truth.
Listen,
no asterisk allowed.
If a man can't go to a Nelly concert, then I don't know if I could work for that team.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I'm out.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so maybe that's too much. Okay.
That's your third crickets, I think, this episode.
Okay, so obviously, this is not Raptors podcast, so we'll leave it for another day.
No, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not. But I'm quite happy to hear that you were not happy with the fact that Vincent Lamar Carter was the franchise player and did not care about the franchise winning, and that made you feel horrible.
I loved Vince until he decided to stop wanting to win. So yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. Stop wanting to win in Toronto. I think he wanted to win elsewhere, but not here.
Yeah. So going back to the original question, which is, how do you feel about a player who is only interested in the money? Well, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, sucks. Sucks as a fan.
There you go. All right.
Why the fuck I can't shoot 3-point shots?
And that brings us to the end of yet another episode of the High and Low Basketball Podcast, the High and Low Experience. I want to thank Mitch, Hugo, and Steven. Now you can see why Mitch got a little tight. When you mentioned Vince Carter, especially his final season as a Raptor, some Raptor fans still in unforgiving mode. Personally, I think Vince did way too much for the franchise to let that get in the way. It's the NBA. Breakups happen. If you haven't done so, subscribe to High and Low anywhere you find podcasts. Go to the High and Low YouTube channel for bonus content. Click on that bell and subscribe. We're on Instagram at Get High and Low, Twitter and TikTok and more High and Low. You can find Hugo, Mitch, Sean, Steven on all of those platforms. All the information is in the show notes. And the music you are listening to right now, that intro and outro music, that amazing music that you hear every single episode, that is by the one and only Live, L-Y-V-E. You can find Live on Twitter and on Instagram at L-Y-V-E. Music is also by Sonny Rockwell of The Goodness. You can't find that guy anywhere. Sound design is by Vonn+Abrahamm. This is a Vonn+Abrahamm podcast, just in case you didn't know. So on behalf of the starters, and on behalf of the weird noises happening all around me, I'm Ike Amaechi. Thank you for listening to High and Low. I just hope I survive this trip. I got to get off this pier. So hopefully we'll see you next week.